Hey guys, back with another video. This is actually an update about the case that happened yesterday. Uh, it looks like Donald Trump, President Trump, has released a video addressing it. I'm gonna watch it and also, look into other clips right here. But let's just start with this. Let's see what he says.
Too long, For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really, very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train.
Let me just go back where you just said, yeah, and adopt the policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. I mean, like, what? They keep 14 arrests. Well, it will be 14 arrests now because I think it's 13 to 14. Uh, but that many arrests, and it doesn't go through these people's minds that they'll just do it again. I mean, there's no consequences for these people.
Release for thugs who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in
Yeah, what we need to do is just you do this, life in jail. For me, I don't think executions they're right. Okay, how I feel like about this is if you do something like this, life in jail, because death is too easy for some of these for people like this. Not even some for people like this, death is too easy. I would like the idea of them rotting in prison for the rest of their lives until they're dead and they're forgotten about. That's how I feel. Executions are like it's like freedom to these people. They don't gotta worry. They're dead. That's it. They're in my eyes. They're basically free. What I would want is them living in prison, being treated like crap for the rest of their lives. That's how I feel like it.
America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities needs help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
All right, that was a great video addressing the points. Oh yeah, this is the next video I'll be watching, but yeah, in Chicago it's pretty bad too. And I've also seen the mayor who was asked a simple question of if you just have more cops, do you think it'll be the situations that happen here would be lowered down? And he just couldn't really answer the question because a lot of people are brainwashed on the fact that cops will just murder minorities indiscriminately for no reason. And to be honest, that's not really true because there are so many body cam footages of minorities, mostly black people, attacking the cops or resisting arrest. And I mean, like, that's the doing that will always make it worse for you because that's first of all already a crime. The easiest way to get out of trouble and the best way is either to not do that crime or deal with it in court. Because you do resist arrest, you harm police officers, you try to attack them. Guess what? People will always look at you negatively, no matter what. They'll just be like, oh, this person clearly can't handle themselves. They're clearly not well in the head. Well, they'll just go to jail and that's it. But here's another video. Because I remember the last video, no news sites really reported it. No news networks really reported it. Because they have an agenda. They're biased. They have a racial agenda. Because I remember back in 2020, the George Floyd thing. That happened for months. I mean, it was the months. And then we had the Summer of Love riots, which was crazy. I remember that one news site, I forgot what it was. It was like a mostly peaceful protest while there's a literal burning building behind him. I mean, like, what the hell? It would, and I'm gonna say this now: if these roles were reversed, so many news sites would be reporting about it because they have a racial agenda. They push this. They want to push white on black crime. That's what they want. But when this happened, there is no agenda that they can push. So they either don't report about it or lie. So here it is. CNN just sided with the man who stabbed our, I can't say her name, the Ukrainian, sorry, I'm just bad with name. Arina Zaruska. I messed that up brutally. I'm sorry. In the throat. They downplayed the attack, shamed anyone calling it racist, and ignored the audio where he bragged about getting a white girl. I'm gonna say this now. This wasn't a racial attack. You wanna know why? Because this guy, 14 prior arrests. This wasn't something he was thinking of doing. This guy is crazy. It's like 12 days ago with the shooting that happened at that Catholic school. I have watched that video. You cannot figure out the reasoning or thinking of a person who is insane because there is no thinking or reasoning. It's just action. You can't think of a possible, like, there's no reason for it. They don't think of a reason. They just do it. So that's why I don't think this, because I've been seeing this just right now. People are thinking it's a racial attack because he said getting a white girl. This is what I think is that this is probably something he would say anyways if it was any race. This guy clearly isn't well. 14 prior arrests. He had a 911 call where he said he was being controlled by man-made substances, most likely fent. Clearly a person who is not straight in the head. So I don't think this is a racially motivated attack. I think this is just someone who was extremely mentally ill and nothing was done about it. But let's watch this.
Be there. When you are mentally ill, you have a hard time knowing that you are mentally ill. But also, I mean, people like Charlie Kirk.
Yes, you have a hard time of knowing that you're mentally ill. Yes, sometimes. Yeah. Problem is, other people would notice because mentally ill people, they self-report a lot. I mean, it's very obvious. The problem is that these officials, these people who arrested it, the judges, clearly didn't care.
Fan. They've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation. And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game. And it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
You know, let me just say
And the George Floyd, didn't he die from a drug overdose? And wasn't he the same guy who pulled a weapon on a pregnant woman? I mean, like, just think about it for 5 seconds. You look into the history of George Floyd, and clearly he wasn't a good person. He was a man who abused drugs, used did a lot of crimes. Like, and like they pushed him as I remember he had like 4 funerals, man. I remember watching that live. I was like, this cannot be real. People are obviously twisting it that way because the news sites back then did the same thing.
A couple of things. One is, what happened to that young woman was horrible. And it's everybody's nightmare. If you're in any public space, subway, whatever, that something bad's going to happen to you or somebody you care about. So it does strike a chord. We don't know why that man did what he did.
Well, we'll never know because this guy was a lunatic. Like, do we know? Well, we know why the transgender the shooter from like I think 2 weeks ago did it because he was crazy, mentally ill. He had he transcended ideologies. He clearly was insane. I mean, like we can't even really think about why he did it. There's no reason. It's just action.
And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering. It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way,
I believe he didn't do it because of a racial thing. But I believe the reason why the news sites, these news networks didn't report on it was because they couldn't push a racial agenda. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. I think that's the reason why they didn't do this. They didn't post anything about this the day it happened. And only a few, and even the ones that did were clearly biased and clearly lying. Like, look at this right here. He's about to say that if it was reversed, they will be reporting on it. He's probably going to say no. But to be honest, we all know they would. We have so many examples of this.
there would be sweeping changes imposed on society. Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass. Even when you had a white police officer murder a black man on live television, the whole world saw, there were no sweeping changes. In fact, not one law was passed at the federal level.
Yeah, because we found out what he actually died from. I mean, like, there was a whole documentary where you could see him put a goddamn fent in his mouth.
Level. So I think that's an important thing to point out. The other thing is, you mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity.
Well, this is why I believe mental asylums should come back. Because we clearly the first time the 13 other arrests and mugshots and crimes he did were clearly reported, and he did it. And him calling 911 saying that there are so many signs that this man was clearly unwell. So many signs. It's just no one wanted to call it out. No one wanted to deal with it. You know what we do? We bring back asylums because we need to put these people away from society and maybe try to find a way to rehabilitate them because they clearly can't function in society or civilization. They can't. Like, what kind of person just sees someone sitting down right in front of them and kills them? A lunatic, a crazy person. That's who.
For people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror of what happened to this young woman.
Well, the guy said getting, oh, I got that white girl, which to be honest, I feel like he would have said that in any race.
For Far too long, Americans
There's
have
also this one right here I'm gonna watch, but let me read this. I watched the full video of the train attack. It's very clear that all the people immediately around I can't say her name did not intervene and did not make any attempt to help her or give her any aid or comfort. She bled out on the floor of a crowded train and died alone while everyone watched her pretended they didn't notice. Well, everyone did notice. Well, the people I remember watching the video, the people in the back, how the hell would you even notice? I mean, what would you even react with? What would you even do? But let me finish reading this. People mill around, walking by casually while she takes her final breaths. Nearly 2 minutes after the attack, one man comes over to try to help. Everyone else just stands and watches. A short time, another woman, and then another man. Those three should be commended. The rest of the people on the train should be plagued with shame and guilt for the rest of their lives, but I doubt they'll never give a second thought. Problem is, what would you even do? What can you do? You just saw this happen. She was stabbed in the neck. What do you do? If I was in that situation, I can't do anything. I can't help her. And a lot of these people are in shock. You're on the train going home. The last thing you would expect is a murder happening on the train. And she was stabbed in the neck. You can't, multiple times. How can you help her? Has these people seen Far Cry 3 in the cutscene where Jason's brother got shot in the neck? He held down his neck to stop the bleeding, but he died anyways. What can you do? What can you do? It's sad, but she was gonna die. That was the neck stab wound. What can these people even do? I mean, what? And also, do they expect them to stop the guy? I mean, this is clearly a person who is crazy, who has so many screws loose in their head. You don't want to die. This person clearly doesn't care about whether he dies or you die. He will kill you no matter what. You try to intervene and try to stop this.
Put up with.
You could try to stop this guy, but he also has a knife, a weapon. And I guess getting stabbed in any part of your body, it most likely it is a ripbozo. You get stabbed in the thigh, you die. You get stabbed in the chest, you will most likely bleed out and die. Stomach stab wounds, and this guy is not gonna one stab you. He's gonna stab you multiple times, probably in the neck, chest, anywhere like that. What can you even do to stop this? And also, this, as going back to what I was saying, how can you even help her, aid her, or comfort her? I mean, I wouldn't know what to do. If I was there, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't even know what to say. What can you do except just watch? I mean, I'm no medical professional, and even if I try to stop the bleeding, it's not like it's gonna help because that is multiple neck stab wounds. That is basically you're gonna die. So yeah, I don't know how these people would even help or do anything. So that's why I bookmarked this. I wanted to talk about it because what can you do? Let's watch this.
And perhaps most shamefully of all, the majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer. Here's the truth that and perhaps
yeah, that is so true. They didn't want to report on this, but they report on the Daniel Penny situation because they have an agenda to push. They didn't do anything here because there is no agenda to push. They don't have anything to push. So that's why they clearly didn't do anything. They didn't report about it. They didn't say anything. Because there's no racial agenda to push here. It is a black man murdering a Ukrainian woman who's white. Come on. There's nothing they can push here. There's no racial thing. And I thought these people cared about Ukraine. and the Ukraine people. Clearly, they don't. They don't. They just want to push agendas and push their ideologies. A normal person would report on this and say this is horrible, but they don't care because this is not what they want to push. But yeah, that's. I just wanted to make an updated video about this. This is way too long, but I had a lot of thoughts on this because there's a lot of people saying it's racial. For me, the murder, the guy murdering her, it is not a racial attack. It is a lunatic who did this. Mentally ill maniac. A monster, basically. And the people who did not report on this are the ones who are trying to push a racial agenda. CNN, MSNBC, all these other news sites didn't report on this because they push racial agendas. I mean, like, remember, this is the biggest example that I'll always pull out, George Floyd. That was months on end of constant reporting, talking about that for months, and I feel like even for years. But something like this is something they can't push. There's nothing, it's not a white on black crime, it is a black on white crime. They have nothing to push. I mean, like, even Family Guy made a joke about this. Well, it was black on black crime, but they don't care about that either. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. This is a horrible situation, and the people who did not report on this because they have a racial agenda should be, shamed. I feel like investigated as to why they didn't report on this. They're being dishonest. They clearly don't want to report on this because it will look bad on them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See you guys. Bye bye. All right. Actually, before I go, I just found another video right here. Someone reporting on it. Fox News, posted by Nick Sorto. And well, I'll just watch the video. But
Tired also of the term mental illness being used as a cover for criminality. When a thug targets a woman, that is not insane.
why? Whoever used it as a cover for criminality. I mean, well, maybe actually a lot of people would. A lot of people use this as a cover for criminality, but you know what I say? That's not a cover. That's an addition. This guy is even more of a criminal because he's crazy. This is like you can't. It's not like you going to people. It's not like going to Walmart and you're gonna buy some, I don't know, like hash browns or some clothes or a new bike. It's not like a process you could think about. This guy clearly is crazy, and there's no cover for that. I'm not using it as a cover. I'm saying that this guy should be put in an asylum, and then that's it. Because clearly, someone like this isn't functional. We've had many cases like this. There was a case where it was the person trying to kidnap a kid. He is not mentally well. He's a criminal who has a mental illness. He's crazy.
He knows she's weaker when he comes from behind with a knife. That's not insane. He minimizes her ability to inflict harm on him. When the thug flees, that's sane because he knows if he stays, he'll be arrested. So what would be?
I don't really think so. I mean, like, you really think that someone would do this racially? Like, someone sits in front of you. Think of the thought process. Do you think someone would do this just because they're white? Not for me. I don't think so. Because you have to be crazy to just murder somebody in front of the train just because of their race. For me, I feel like that's a mental illness. And also, just to pull out a knife and kill them just for, like, you can't think of the thought process of this. This is a crazy person. You can't break it down. And this person right here, what was his name? Greg Gutfeld. You cannot thoughtfully conclude what this person was thinking You can't do that for any mentally ill person, any crazy person, because you don't understand their motives, you don't understand why. This isn't someone who's sane, this is someone who's crazy. You can't think of what they're gonna do.
Insane would be if he were to face off against a man without a weapon, somebody like a Tyrus. That would be insane. You'd go, okay, that's crazy. But almost all of these people that do this stuff, they go after women. That is not insane. That's self-preservation. This is not insanity. It's an evil mind. And it's an evil mind that is somehow excused in a culture that weaponizes victim status. In this case, mental illness. And what is it about a society that contributes to this? And I say this based on my own.
Well, can he be mentally ill and also a criminal and also crazy? I mean, like, there's a lot of cases where we have criminals who are crazy. Like, did we already forget about the shooting that happened at the Catholic school? I mean, that guy was crazy. He's a criminal. No one's downplaying on that. Like, and no one should downplay on this too. He was crazy. That's why this has happened. This guy is a lunatic. All right, sorry, let's continue the video.
Own personal evidence of being on city streets every single day in New York, that when a homeless person is shouting at people, he's not shouting, I really made a mess of my life. Boy, I really screwed up. No, his aggression is purely blaming other things and other people. He blames the world, he blames people, he blames you. So we're living in a progressive ideological nightmare where the worst in society is empowered by a sense of victimhood. So when this happens, they will still get people like Brian Stelter that says, oh, be careful of the racism, or other people saying, you know what? We really need to be concerned about our services to the mentally ill, which may or may not be true, but he's not mentally ill. He needs to be executed. Lastly, I asked Grok for a conservative count of the number of times the George Floyd video was played.
Let me go back on that and fully hear. I'm waiting.
For a conservative. Lastly, I asked Grok for it may not be true, but he's not mentally ill.
He is mentally ill. What kind of person just decides to stab someone for no reason just because they stand in front of them? That's just crazy. Now, I feel like death penalty is too easy. I mean, like, that's it. They just die. No punishment. No life in jail. No rotting in prison.
Needs to be executed. Lastly, I asked Grok for a conservative count of the number of times the George Floyd video was played, looking at tweets and social media, Instagram, news networks. It came to a conservative number of 975 million times. That is not counting retweets. So that is a snapshot of this liberal disease, the hierarchy of problems. The media and politicians, people like Stelter, implore you not to cover one problem, but to amplify another one to a destructive degree that leads to riots, leads to dozens of deaths. But do not cover this other thing because that is racist. And that is not as important. In the hierarchy of problems, we decide what you cover.
And that's bad. There shouldn't be a one-sided bias for any of this stuff. But I feel like this Greg Gutfeld is wrong. This guy is mentally ill. He's crazy. And the fact that he's trying to break down the thought process of someone who is crazy is never going to work. Because normal people won't think of this. Normal people won't just do this out of the blue. You can't break down the thought process of a crazy person because there is no reasoning coming from them. But I just wanted to watch this because this just showed up on my feed. But yeah, that's it. Bye-bye.